talking Minecraft now? We got those mods. Today, let's look at some of our favorite mods for swim baits. We can do weedless hooks. We can do weights and magnets. We can do spinner arm attachments. And we can do direct tie.
Welcome back, everybody. And like the girl said in the intro, today we want to talk about some of the mods that we do to a bunch of different styles of swim baits. And I just want to say that none of this is really earth-shattering, all brand new, anything that we do exclusive. A lot of this information's out there. Guys like Doug Wagner talk about this. Guys like Luke Ronestrand and some of the guys on the Musky Insider. Some of that information is behind their paywalls. I'm not saying that's good, bad, or otherwise, but we get a lot of questions here at 54 Bust or Bust on how we rig our swim baits and, you know, some of the things that we do. So I just wanted to put all these things together in a spot right here that I can show you some of the mods that we like to do and the styles that we fish them. And I have some underwater footage of a lot of these to show you guys, you know, how it'll look and what it might do for the bait. One of the most obvious things that you can do to a swim bait to improve not only the hookup, but just the way that they work. This is a shallow shadzilla, and I have the screw-in magnets. These are actually from Musky Innovations. They come in a package like this. And Waterwolf actually makes some screw-in magnets. I don't have any here. I think I have them on a couple of the tubes down there. Same idea. The Waterwolf ones are a little bit lower profile. They sit a little bit tighter, which may work on some of the smaller swim baits like a shadzilla. But if you guys are looking for something to improve your hookup percentage, you can obviously tell that now if a fish grabs that, he's going to get hooks no matter what happens there. The problem that you have on some of the swim baits, and here's a shadzilla without the hook magnets, they hang low, and depending on how that's going through the water, a fish could grab it here. This hook could be forward. This hook could be out to the side. You go to set the hook, and you may not get, you know, a solid hook set. So that's the number one thing that I like to do is get some magnets in on your swim baits and get those hooks up tight to the body. All right, taking it one step, you know, more on having the magnets like we have here is getting a weight on, especially on a swimming dog. This is the shallow swimming dog, which has the wider profile compared to the normal swimming dog, which is a little bit more slender and will ride deeper in the water. But a lot of guys like the action of the shallow swimming dog, just has that really nice body roll. And I have this exact one in the water here, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like with the weight on it. Just gets it down a little bit deeper in the water, and it still has that really nice roll of the shallow swimming dog. I have the magnets on here, and on this one, I have the UV plasma point hooks from Musky Innovations. And for us, this is pretty much a perfect swim bait for Shield Lakes. And I have the 1.5 ounce weight on there from Chaos. And this allows me to run it a little bit deeper on a medium retrieve. I can get over deeper rocks or deeper break lines. And we've had success with this last year. Got a video of a fish on it right here. And I'll show you guys and tell you guys kind of how I like to run it.
Katie, grab my rod.
It's a little tiger.
Oh.
But let's get him just the same.
Here.
That's not a tiger.
Is that a tiger, Musky?
So the shallow swimming dog like that, I like to just run it on a straight retrieve, and I will vary my retrieve speed depending on whether I'm around shallow rocks or a weed break line. Some guys like Wagner, they'll run it kind of almost like a pull pause, but they won't really let it pause. They'll pull on it and they won't let it go to slack line, and they kind of get that kind of movement in the water. We do that from time to time, but I find that on Shield Lakes, the easiest is just that straight retrieve, just getting it in, you know, coming in off of rocks or weed lines. It's just an amazing bait around that type of structure. the addition of the weight and the magnets, you can just do so much with this style of swim bait. So you definitely want to pick up some deep threat weights from Chaos Tackle, and you can use them on all style of swim baits, tubes, pretty much anywhere where you can take a hook off the bottom with a split ring, you can get one of these on. There is one trick that we do that'll help, and here's a close-up of what these look like out of the package. And the one here on my left is exactly how it comes out of the package. The one here in my right hand, you can see that we drilled out the opening to allow you to get it down on the hook hangers a little bit easier. And on some of them, we actually take like a little small file and file out those holes so you can get it down on the hook hanger and still get your split ring on. So check out this little clip here again, and you'll see, how we drill it out. And sometimes we have to file that just to make a little bit more room so that you can get those split rings back on. One thing that we started doing last year, and we kind of talked about it when we talked about these Muntz weedless trebles with the weedless wire on it, is putting these on swim baits. And this one, I actually had magnets in here. And again, I took the magnets out of here to use it on a couple tubes to do the same idea. But with magnets and with weedless trebles, I can run this shallow shadzilla around the weeds, burn it over the top of the weeds. And with those hooks tight to the body and weedless, this is as weedless as you're going to ever find a swim bait. And you can use it almost anywhere you can a bucktail. And the beauty of that is that you can get that over top of the weeds, and it's got that little bit of belly roll. And then with the big paddle tail, if you're really quick on the surface of the water, you can almost use it like a buzz bait style. If you really keep your rod tip high and just get that thing moving right along the surface. It's been a really cool bait for us, and it's one that I think you guys, if you get some weedless trebles, some of those magnets, it's another bait that you can use in a spot where if you have pressured fish, they haven't seen this style of presentation in that type of location or structure. So it's something you might want to add to your arsenal. One of the most common mods that guys do to swim baits is adding on a spinnerbait arm. And where I kind of first caught wind of it was the Southern Ontario guys were using a shadzilla like this with a hog collar from Lubowski Lures. And we've had success with that setup over the years. And here's a pic of a fish and it in the bag with that exact setup, a spinner arm, and I think it was on a shallow swimming dog, but we've also used them on shadzillas with a lot of luck. And this one here, I have it set up on a Poseidon, and this is a triple deuce spinner arm from Tine Tackle. Again, it just makes a ton of racket in the water. You get, the profile of a spinner bait or of a swim bait, and you get all the commotion of a spinner arm on top of there. Just a great way to use these. You control these, and that's where most guys like to do it, is just troll. And you heard us earlier this year and on our best of video talk about a Royal Orba with a spinner arm on it. This is the same idea. You can cast this. You got to be a little bit careful, and you'll get a few, hang-ups, and you'll get your line wrapped around it. But it's one of those presentations that a lot of pressured fish just never see a spinner arm on a swim bait like that. All right, one of the last things I want to talk about, and I found out about this through my buddy Matt, but it kind of comes through him, and it comes from guys like Luke Ronestrand and a few of the other Minnesota guys doing direct tie with fluorocarbon to a big swim bait. In this case, this is a Rover. I think they call this like the mega shad or giant shad. And I used this setup last year up on Cedar and Peralt. Didn't catch fish, but I raised one of the biggest fish that I seen on Peralt last year, slow rolling this in, and having this direct tie and then 4 or 5 feet of fluorocarbon and then tying that directly to your line just gives the most natural presentation possible. And you get the, the added bonus of this fluorocarbon being almost invisible in the water. And on our clear shield lakes and the Minnesota guys on those clear lakes, that's probably why they started doing this. And I will admit it's something new to us. I don't have any footage underwater of what difference it actually makes, but that is on our list this year. We're going to get this setup in the water. We're going to do some of the popular leader combinations, and we're really going to try and look at a few of these popular swim baits and a few of the other popular baits like a Royal Orba, like a Bulldog, and see if this direct tie method, you know, does anything different to the action of the bait. But I know for me, running these huge swim baits on a direct tie setup, it gives that bait a lot more, you know, room to move in the water, and it just feels like, to me, the angler, that it looks more lifelike. And like I say, it raised one of the biggest fish that I seen last year on this exact bait here. So it's one that we're going to be doing definitely more next year, and I know it's something that has been talked about on some of these other musky forums. So if those guys are talking about it, it's definitely worth kind of exploring. If you guys are looking to try and do some of this direct tie stuff, just pick up some fluorocarbon leader material at your favorite shop, or check out spots like Team Rhino Outdoors. And last year I was using some of this. This is the Daiwa J Fluoro leader material and 100-pound. I have some Seagar stuff here. I also have some Gamma stuff. Again, just, you know, probably start at like 100. You don't want to go too light on that material, because if you do get a fish nipping it, you want to make sure you have some, you know, some redundancy in that leader material. But that's the kind of stuff that we use. And for the knot here, a couple guys, you know, recommend different things. I use basically a double figure 8 knot. So I put a figure 8 in the line, I go through the tie-in, and then I trace the figure 8 back. And that comes from basically our climbing background when we were into rock climbing. That's the knot that you use when you tie into your harness. Super strong, super redundant, and it actually doesn't take up a lot of room on your line, and it's just something that I have a lot of confidence in. And I know there's guys that use other knots, and I'll try and include a couple pictures or links of this style of knot that we personally use. Swim baits are just amazing baits, and I know a lot of people know about them. Surprisingly, though, up in Canada, not very many people use them. And a lot of guys that come up here, I don't see them reaching for a swim bait, a swimming dog, a shadzilla, Poseidon, you know, some of the Rover Baits. There's a bunch of other ones out on the market now. And it's something that, this one here I got from my buddy Matt, and I don't know how many fish this one's caught. And again, they're so easy to use. Pretty much anywhere you would use a bucktail, you can throw one of these, and especially you put some magnets on it, you put some weedless hooks. Now you can run that thing almost anywhere. And guys, just keep it simple. Tie it on, clip it on, cast it out, straight retrieve. They're great in a figure 8, where a lot of other, you know, jerk style baits, you kind of run out of options at the boat. This looks so lifelike at the boat. That's one of the beauties of it. In the figure 8, you can do a lot with it. You can hook fish in the figure 8 with a, you know, really high percentage. Check out the footage here where I hooked a really nice one in the figure 8 on this exact same bait here. And that just shows you that they're super versatile.
He just went deep and turned and hung. He's still on you. Got him. Wanted to drop it off.
Deep, shallow, weeds, rocks, it really doesn't matter with a swim bait up on Shield Lakes. You can run these things absolutely anywhere. And we love all of them. We use all of them. Lately, yeah, we've been using a lot of the swimming dogs in our custom pattern here, Sunset Jailbird. But a couple years ago, Musky Innovations had this color, and I believe this was like called Molten Steel or Molten Lava, something like that. And this exact one here, I was fishing with my buddy Mike, and as we're pulling up onto a spot, check out the video right here, and you're going to find out where we could use this bait, and it's not a conventional spot that most people would think. I'm going to put on a swim bait and cast to this spot. Check it out. Really cool day that we had out on the water. And until next time, 54 Bust is out of here. We'll catch you guys out on the water later.